Summary of the book, Darth Bane, Dynasty of Evil, by Karpyshyn, Part 1. The Twilight of a Dark Lord. It has been 2 decades since Darth Bane instituted the Rule of Two, a revolution for the Sith that eliminated the old infighting, reducing their number to 1 master and 1 apprentice. Bane did this to ensure that only the strongest would lead, with the expectation that the apprentice would dethrone him when powerful enough. Yet time has eroded the Dark Lord's steadfastness. Now, as his body ages, an involuntary tremor in his left hand becomes a constant reminder of his increasing frailty. Aware that his legacy is in jeopardy, his mind becomes obsessed with an ancient mystery, immortality. Bane seeks Darth Ban's Holocron, an artifact that holds the key to transferring a being's essence into another body, defying death itself. He locks himself away in his mansion on Shavtrik 4, surrounded by grimoires and forbidden texts, immersed in a race against time to unravel the secrets of the ancients, while the shadow of betrayal lurks around him. Meanwhile, Zannah, his apprentice, knows the time to challenge her master is drawing near, but doubts haunt her. For 20 years, she has learned the arts of the dark side under the shadow of Darth Bane, who taught her that only the strong have the right to survive. That power must be earned through blood. Every mission she completes, every grueling training session, is a reminder that the Rule of Two does not forgive weakness. Yet uncertainty grows within her like a poisonous seed. Zannah senses the tremor in Bane's hand, a sign of his decline, but also a possible deception. What if Bane is feigning weakness to lure her into a trap? The possibility that it is all a test consumes her, forcing her to keep her guard up. The tension between them is as tangible as the hum of their lightsabers, a deadly dance where every step could be their last. Zannah knows she must challenge him soon, but part of her isn't sure she's ready to face the man who was both her master and her executioner. Part 2. The Forbidden Quest and the Call to Betrayal. Bane makes a desperate choice: travel to Prekith, a remote world in the deep core, where he hopes to find the holocron of Darth Bane, a dark crystal pyramid decorated with ancient glyphs. This artifact holds the key to eternal life. Within, Ban's secrets promise essence transfer, the ability to project consciousness into a new body, thus circumventing death. To gain access to this wisdom, Bane must infiltrate an ancient temple guarded by Ban's fanatical followers, facing deadly traps and the spectral presence of Ban himself, fiercely protective of his legacy. He purposely leaves Zannah behind on Shavtrik 4, knowing that she will interpret his absence as a test of his will and ambition. But Zannah, more calculating than he imagines, takes advantage of her solitude to forge a dangerous alliance with Set Hearth, a fallen and hedonistic Jedi, drawn to the dark side and the promises of power. Zannah sees in him a useful tool, a potential pawn in the inevitable showdown that will decide the fate of the Sith. But Bane's journey to Prekith is not an easy one. As he delves deeper into the ancient temple of Darth Bane, echoes of the past become present. Shadows of ancient Sith surround him, whispers intertwining with the wailing of the wind. Visions intensify, showing him familiar faces of fallen enemies, each reproaching him for his failures and his desperate desire to defy the cycle of life and death. Ban's traps, ingenious and deadly, challenge both his physical prowess and his mental fortitude. The labyrinthine corridors, decorated with murals of bloody battles and dark rituals, seem to shift as Bane progresses, disorienting him and planting the seeds of doubt in his mind. At every turn, Bane must fight the temptation to give up, to accept that immortality is an illusion. But his desire for power is stronger than the desperation that threatens to consume him. Eventually, he reaches Ban's sarcophagus, where the holocron lies like a dark heart pulsing with energy. What he discovers within, however, is not the answer he sought. The holocron reveals that essence transfer requires an extreme sacrifice, giving up everything that makes a being unique to preserve only bare consciousness, a risk that could turn him into a wandering wraith, trapped between life and death. Doubt grips him. Is he willing to pay the price to secure his legacy, or will this be his final downfall? Part 3. The Shadow Challenge. Upon his return, Bane finds that Zannah has decided to confront him. She waits in the shadows of a temple ruin, her figure barely visible in the dim light. The news takes him by surprise. Though deep down he knew this day would come, the moment when his apprentice would claim the mantle of Dark Lord of the Sith. Bane sees the determination in her eyes, the cold spark of the dark side he himself cultivated in her. In that instant, they recognize each other as enemies, and all the tension built up over years of training and unspoken expectations bursts into the air between them. They stare into each other's eyes, and the distance between them seems charged with electricity. There are no words because they both understand that this is the moment that has defined their lives. The instant when the rule of two demands that one die so that the other may rule. The night wind whispers through the ruins, but they remain motionless, each measuring the other's strength, searching for a weakness they can exploit. The betrayal latent in every breath, the echo of ancient promises of power, turns the battlefield into their final conversation. The fight is brutal, a display of skill in the Force and lightsaber combat. Zannah unleashes the Sith magic Bane taught her, transforming the air into a maelstrom of shadow and dark energy that twists reality around her. Tentacles of pure darkness erupt from her hands, seeking to envelop Bane in a lethal embrace, a physical manifestation of the chaos within. The whispers of ancient Sith seem to rise from the wind, fueling their power with ancient hatred. Bane, for his part, responds with the brute force of dark side energy, summoning violet lightning bolts that illuminate the ruins of the temple like a raging tempest. His power is destructive, each bolt shaking the ground, pulverizing columns and scattering debris in all directions. His attacks are direct, ferocious, designed to crush his opponent and destroy any defense. Every strike of his lightning, every lunge of his lightsaber, is an attempt to break Zannah's resolve. The tension of combat vibrates in the air. Both fighters are on the edge, every move a deadly gamble. Every inch given up could mean the difference between victory and annihilation. The echoes of their clashes reverberate through the temple, a reminder of the never-ending struggle that has kept the Sith Order alive. The desire for power versus the need to survive. But as the fight intensifies, a third player enters the scene. Set Hearth, seduced by chaos and the promise of power, cannot resist the opportunity to tip the balance in his favor. Without warning, he emerges from the shadows, lightsaber ignited, striking out at Zannah in a desperate attempt to seize control of the situation and seize the power that both Sith embody. His intervention creates a moment of confusion. Bolts of red and blue energy streak through the air, and the force of the dark side is unleashed in uncontrollable fury. Zannah, shocked by the betrayal of her potential ally, turns her attention to Set, allowing Bane to regain the upper hand. Set is unprepared for what comes next. He underestimates Bane's ferocity and Zannah's cunning. With a deadly twist, Bane unleashes a bolt of force lightning that drives him into the ruins, shattering the fragile alliance in an instant. Set attempts to fight back, but Bane's experience and Zannah's cold precision overwhelm him. Every blow he throws is met with an impenetrable barrier of energy and skill. Within seconds, his ambition is crushed, his body falling limp to the ground, his gaze still reflecting the greed that led to his downfall. With Set out of the equation, Bane and Zannah are left alone once again, surrounded by the ruins of their battle. The tension is even more intense. The knowledge that both are willing to do anything to win permeates the air. They know that this duel will decide not only their fate, but the future of the Sith. Each recognizes in the other a worthy rival, someone who embodies the dark side in its purest and most dangerous form. And with this understanding, they throw themselves back into battle, knowing that only one can emerge from this place alive. Part 4. The Assault of Souls. The final battle between master and apprentice reaches its climax in the ruins of an ancient temple, a place steeped in history and dark energy. The crumbling walls and rubble-strewn floor bear witness to the fury unleashed between the two. Zannah, wounded and on the verge of collapse, struggles to maintain her focus as pain courses through her body. Every breath is an effort, every movement a fight against the fatigue that threatens to consume her. In front of her, Bane continues to advance, relentless, his eyes burning with the intensity of a predator on the verge of victory. Aware that his body is failing, Bane turns to his last hope, the dark knowledge of Sith Holocron. He invokes the essence transfer ritual, projecting his will like a tidal wave that attempts to overwhelm Zannah's mind. The air fills with a dense, pulsating energy as Bane attempts to slide his spirit into his apprentice's body, wishing to escape the aging shell that imprisons him. But Zannah, shrouded in darkness and consumed by the desire to become the new Dark Lord, resists with desperate strength. Her thoughts focus on maintaining her identity, on blocking Bane's mental invasion. On the ethereal plane of the Force, their minds intertwine like two snakes fighting to devour the other. Visions of Bane, of his rise to power, and of the horrors he has unleashed, mingle with Zannah's ambitions and fears. Around them, the temple seems to vibrate, reflecting the intensity of the psychic combat that threatens to shatter the mind of whichever of them yields first. For a moment that seems like an eternity, their minds clash on an ethereal plane, each trying to break the other's will. Bane summons his darkest memories, his life as a slave miner on a Patros, where every day meant an endless cycle of pain and despair. The echo of hammers hitting rock, the cortosis dust filling his lungs, his father's brutality. All of it fueled the rage that drove him to embrace the dark side. He relives the battles against the Jedi, his victory on Ruzin, where the Sith re-emerged under their new doctrine. It's an unstoppable current of hate and power that tries to suffocate Zannah's mind, making her doubt her own strength. But Zannah does not give up. She unleashes her memories as well, projecting her own suffering and determination. She remembers the moment she decided to follow Bane, the promise of a power that would take her beyond mere existence, her longing to prove herself worthy of being his successor. On that mental plane, visions of the two intertwine like swirling shadows and dark flames, fighting to consume each other's essence. The ruins of the temple fade away before the magnitude of the duel, which transcends time and space, becoming a pulse of pure will, a macabre dance where only one can prevail. Part 5. Unbreakable Shadows. Zannah returns to Shavtrik 4, the weight of victory and the shadow of uncertainty. The ruins of the confrontation still linger in her mind, but she now knows that the path that awaits her is that of the Master. Her first goal is to find an apprentice, someone who possesses the same relentless ambition she had to challenge Bane. On the horizon, the mansion rises as a symbol of power, but within it, Zannah senses a growing unease. The memory of Set Hearth, the fallen Jedi who promised power, continues to haunt her. He would have been an intriguing choice, but his weakness and inability to fully embrace the dark side cost him his life. As dawn paints the sky over Shavtrik IV in shades of red, Zannah ponders the essence of the Rule of Two. She knows that this doctrine ensures that only the strongest survive, but she has also seen how the Sith can be corrupted from within. A question looms in her mind, a question that refuses to be silenced. Will she be able to perpetuate the Rule of Two the way Bane did, or will she end up repeating the same mistakes that led to the extinction of the Sith in the past? From the window of her study, Zannah looks out over the deserted landscape and feels the weight of Bane's legacy on her shoulders. Every shadow seems a reminder of the eternal struggle between master and apprentice. She is aware that her dominance over the Sith Order will depend on her ability to find a worthy successor, someone to challenge her when the time comes. But the seed of doubt has been planted, and she wonders if, like Bane before her, she will end up clinging to power out of fear of death. Yet she sets herself a promise to be ruthless. The Rule of Two will continue, but in the corner of her mind, a small voice warns her, danger does not always come from without. Sometimes it lurks in the shadows of one's own heart. Bane is dead, but his shadow still looms over Zannah. In the solitude of Shavtrik IV's mansion, she feels a faint tremor in her hand, the same one that tormented Bane. At night, that tremor grows more persistent, almost like a whisper of her master's essence, which seems to haunt her from a dark corner of her mind. She wonders if it is battle weariness, or if Bane somehow managed to leave a part of himself inside her, an indelible mark that could awaken at any moment. The galaxy continues to spin, oblivious to the storm brewing in a dark corner of Sheotric 4. The Jedi believe the Sith are extinct, but Zannah knows the darkness is only preparing for the next assault. The seed of galactic domination has been planted, and the dark side grows, rooting itself deep within the fabric of the Force. But has Bane really disappeared completely? Zannah feels an uneasiness, a foreboding she can't ignore. Something about her suggests the war for control of the darkness isn't over. And as she gazes up at the stars, a thought flashes through her mind. Maybe, just maybe, her master's essence still lurks, waiting for the moment to take control again. The story of the Sith continues, in an eternal cycle of ambition, power, and betrayal, where the line between master and apprentice blurs until only darkness remains. Get the book at planetalibro.com.